Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari Gopijana Vallabha Jaya Girivara Dhari Jaya Girivara Dhari Gopijana Vallabha Jaya Girivara Dhari Jaya Girivara Dhari Yashodanandana Jaya Brajajana Ranjana Jaya Yashodanandana Jaya Brajajana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Kunja Bihari Jaya Kunja Bihari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Kunja Bihari Jaya Kunja Bihari Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jaya Mudirayet Nashta Prayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttamashloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki Krishnaya Vasudevaya Devaki Nandanaya Cha Nanda Gopa Kumaraya Govindaya Namo Namaha. Hare Krishna, everyone. So we are reading from the Srimad Bhagavatam, 10th canto, chapter number 24, verse number 24. So we'll be reading from verse 24 to verse 27. So there are 4 shlokas. So I will just recite the shlokas once, read their translations and purport. Verse number 24. Na puro jana pada, na grama, na grahavayam, vanau kasastata nityam, vanashaila nivasinaha. Translation and purport by the disciples of His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. My dear Father, our home is not in the cities or towns or villages. Being forest dwellers, we always live in the forest and on the hills. Purport. Lord Krishna here points out that the residents of Vrindavan should recognize their relationship with Govardhan Hill and with the forest of Vrindavan and not worry about a distant demigod like Indra. Having concluded his argument, Lord Krishna makes a radical proposal in the following verse. Tasmad gavam brahmananam adreshcharabhyatam makah ya indra yaga sambharas tair ayam sadhyatam makah. Translation. Therefore, may a sacrifice for the pleasure of the cows, the Brahmanas and Govardhan hill begin. With all the paraphernalia collected for worshipping Indra, let this sacrifice be performed instead. Purport. Lord Krishna is famous as Grob Brahman Hita, the well-wishing friend of the cows and the Brahmanas. Lord Krishna specifically included the local Brahmanas in his proposal because he is always devoted to those who are devoted to the godly Vedic culture. Next shloka, shloka number 26. Pachayantam vividha pakaha supanta payasa dayah samyavapupa shashkulya sarvadosh tohascha grahyatam. Translation. Let many different kinds of food be cooked, from sweet rice to vegetable soups. Many kinds of fancy cakes, both baked and fried, should be prepared, and all the available milk products should be taken for this sacrifice. Purport. The word supa indicates bean broth and also liquid vegetables. Thus, to celebrate the Govardhan Puja, Lord Krishna called for hot preparations such as soup, cold preparations like sweet rice, and all types of milk products. Going to next shloka, number 27. Huyantam agnaya samyag brahmanair brahmavadibhihi annam bahu gunam tebhyo deyam vodhenu dakshinaha. Translation. The Brahmanas who are learned in the Vedic mantras must properly invoke the sacrificial fires. Then you should feed the priest with nicely prepared food and reward them with cows and other gifts. Purport. According to Sridhar Swami, Lord Krishna instructed his father and other residents of Vrindavan in the technical details of the Vedic sacrifice to assure the quality of the sacrifice and also to inspire Nanda and others with faith in the concept of such a sacrifice. Thus, the Lord mentioned that there must be orthodox Brahmanas, regular sacrificial fires, and proper distribution of charity. And things were to be done in the order given by the Lord. We'll chant some prayers now. Om Agyantimirandhasya Yananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Uta Padakamalam Shri Guru Shvaishnavancha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Savadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakha Nitamsha. He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Rishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpataru Bhasya Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patita Nam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gaur Bhaktavinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. So we are reading this chapter 24 in the 10th canto, which is worshipping the Govardhan hill. And we are reading from verse 24 to 27. So before we go into the discussion, I'm just seeking the blessings of all the assembled Vaishnavas here. Please bless me so that we can glorify Krishna together. This is such a sweet section where Krishna is instructing us how to worship Krishna, how to worship Govardhan, as Govardhan is non-different from Krishna. So please bless me, all the assembled Vaishnavas, and let's dive into the nectar of Srimad Bhagavatam. So verse 24 is basically the last point, or last, I would say, the conclusion of the argument which Krishna has been mentioning, which he started pretty much in the beginning of this chapter. And 24th verse is basically the conclusion of all those arguments. 25th, 26th, and 27, all the three shlokas are basically speaking on the details of how the Lord wants the worship of Govardhan to take place. So how he's instructing that may there should be a sacrifice for the pleasure of the cows and the brahmanas and the Govardhan. It should begin. And all the paraphernalia for Indra should be used for this. And then he's giving instructions about different kinds of foods to be cooked, from soups to sweet rice, from cakes to like baked stuff and fried stuff, and all sorts of milk products. And then in the 27th shloka, he's also saying that Brahmanas who know how to chant Vedic mantras, they should do the sacrifice very properly, and they should invoke the sacrificial fires. And then charity should happen. Then these Brahmanas who have come to do this ritual, to do this puja, they should be nicely fed, and they should be rewarded with cows and other gifts. So there are two themes here. One is the conclusion of the argument of Shri Krishna, and then the three shlokas on the worship of Govardhan and charity at the end of that. So few things which I noted when I was reading these shlokas. As I think all of you have known, so many others have spoken already, so many Vaishnavas, that where are we now? We are in this section which comes after Krishna. He taught a lesson to the Yajnik Brahmins, or the Brahmanas who are attached to rituals. And he also gave mercy to the wives of those Brahmanas. So Krishna had that pastime in the outskirts of Vrindavan. So these Brahmanas, even if they understood that Krishna is supreme, they didn't come personally to give their apologies and respects to Krishna. They were so afraid of Kamsa that from there only mentally they were offering prayers and apologies and things like that. Because it is said, some local authorities of Vrindavan have said that Kamsa's palace was so huge that it was till the outskirts of Vrindavan. And these Brahmanas were living in the outskirts of Vrindavan. So they were almost at the doorstep of the palace. They were very fearful. And through this pastime, Krishna established that devotion is more important than rituals. And something very important for us, like this is like one thing we should remember from that pastime is like devotion is more important than being caught up in rituals. And now Krishna comes home, and Krishna is seeing the same thing. What is the same thing? Then again, another fire sacrifice is being prepared, and so much focus has been given to rituals. And Krishna decides to teach a lesson. And now this lesson is not for Nand Maharaj. Someone may say Nand Maharaj is a pure devotee. Why a lesson to be taught to Nand Maharaj? No, this is not a lesson for Nand Maharaj. This is a lesson for Indra, who's very proud. And I just want to mention here that we have been hearing, we might have heard that we have not entered the Leela yet, where Indra would come and we would see how proud he is and other things. And we might be thinking that Indra is someone who is extremely proud fellow, and then Krishna is crushing him and humiliating him, and that's how Krishna is acting in this particular situation. But we have to also understand that how dear is Indra to Krishna, that Krishna personally takes this upon himself to crush the pride of Indra. And again, Indra is a Karma Mishra Bhakta. It's not that he's not having sadhu sangha. He's also hearing classes. He's also hearing about pride. But he thinks, I'm not proud. Similarly, a person who is proud will always think, I'm very humble. So another thing which I was thinking, that as devotees, we are hearing. We should be aware of the anarthas which are there in our heart. So, because in this situation, at least Indra is fortunate enough that Krishna himself personally is reciprocating with Indra in this Leela and helping him leave pride. So this particular first shloka, verse number 24, is the conclusion of arguments I was saying. And Krishna is the most expert in anything Krishna does. And if you see in this section, Krishna has used the atheistic Sankhya philosophy and Karma Mimamsa philosophy to drive his point. So he is using philosophy which does not have its footing in the Vedic scriptures. But Krishna can prove anything from anything. If you see other incarnations also of Krishna, other appearances of Krishna, even if we just think about our Gaurachandra, Nimai Pandit. So when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, before taking sannyas, he was known as Nimai Pandit. He was an expert debater, expert logician. And we remember the pastime of Nimai Pandit meeting Keshav Kashmiri. And how Keshav Kashmiri's, it's such a beautiful pastime, how Keshav Kashmiri's pride was crushed by Nimai Pandit. Because Nimai Pandit really threw him off with the expertise of logic which Nimai Pandit. So Krishna is Vedeshya Sarver Aham Eva Vedya. Krishna is the source of the Vedas, knower of the Vedas, and goal of the Vedas. But Krishna himself is using a non-Vedic philosophy. So Krishna is basically using this unconventional method to trick and cheat. And I was thinking, Krishna is a trickster. I've heard so many times from Srila Prabhupada and some other senior devotees that Krishna is such a trickster. I was thinking that to what level can Krishna go? What kind of cheating can Krishna do? And I've started searching the Bhagavad Gita. And then there is a shloka here in the Bhagavad Gita, which basically says that I am also the gambling of the cheats. I think this is in the 10th chapter. Dyutam chalayatam asmi. So chala is basically trickery or cheating. So in the purport, Prabhupada writes that there are many kinds of cheaters all over the universe. And of all the cheating processes, gambling stands supreme and therefore represents Krishna. So gambling is represented by Krishna because gambling is a supreme form of cheating. And because Krishna is supreme, Krishna can be more deceitful than any person. So if Krishna chooses to deceive a person, no one can surpass him. His greatness is not simply one-sided. It is all-sided. Like one time it was asked by Srila Prabhupada, can Krishna create something which Krishna cannot lift? And Prabhupada said, yes, Krishna is God. Krishna can do anything. Krishna can create something which Krishna cannot lift. And after 5 minutes, Krishna can lift it. So Krishna can do anything because Krishna is God. He's Purn Purushottam. And in his Leela, as he's here, and in this Krishna Leela, Krishna has time again showed that he is God. He is the supreme personality of Godhead. And then I was thinking that other incarnations also, how the Lord has cheated. So if you remember the Matsya incarnation of the Lord, where Krishna takes the form of a fish. So how he cheats Satyavrat Maharaj, that he's always asking, just I need a little bigger pot of water. I need a little bigger pot of water. And Krishna, the size of the fish is ever increasing. Or if we see Vaman Dev is the small dwarf Brahmana boy, so sweet and cute that even the sister of Bali Maharaj, she thinks that, oh, how nice it would be if I could be the mother of this small boy. And later this lady becomes Putana in Krishna Leela. because she had two feelings. One was to feed Krishna as mother, and also then to kill Krishna, because later Vaman Dev became so big. Vaman Dev said to Bali Maharaj, I just need 3 steps of land. And Bali Maharaj was strict, seeing the size of the small boy. And then Vaman Dev became so big that with 3 steps, he took over the entire universe. So much so that one of his feet touched the outer boundary of the universe, and through which the Akash Ganga touched the feet of Vaman Dev and entered this universe, which became Ganga later. So Vaman Dev tricked Bali Maharaj. Buddha, if you see, tricked the masses. That time it is said that the temples would have drainage to clean up the slaughtering of the animals which would happen in temples. And Buddha came and he rejected the Vedas and he said everything is zero. There is no God. And ultimately, what was the trickery? The trickery was that all these people who followed Buddha, they started worshipping Buddha as God. That was a trickery. But the trickery doesn't end here, actually. It's not only the Lord which tricks, the devotees also trick. And like if you see in the Bhagavatam, Dhritarashtra is leaving the house and Yudhishthira is asking, why are you leaving? What's going on? And then we see that Vidura, the brother of Dhritarashtra, has tricked Dhritarashtra. There was a devotee who asked, who told Srila Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada, I don't like India. I don't like Indian people in India. And Srila Prabhupada say, why? I'm an Indian. And this devotee says, well, they are such a trickster. They always trick people. And Srila Prabhupada says, well, I also tricked you. And he said, how have you tricked me? And then Srila Prabhupada says, well, I came to your country. If people would have known what am I going to do, then I would not have been allowed. So I tricked you in accepting this beautiful process of Krishna consciousness. First, I just asked you, you take prasad. Then you do bhajan and you do kirtan. And then slowly, all the bad habits left you. And now you were such a pure Vaishnava. So Srila Prabhupada or Vaishnavas, they also trick. There is a small story which is told to Srila Prabhupada by another friend of his in Vrindavan known as Bhagatji. There were 2 people, Ramu and Shamu. And Shamu was very, very certain that Ramu would go back to Godhead because he's such a pure Vaishnava. But Ramu at that time was very addicted to drinking tea 3 times a day. And Shamu was like, he's going back to Godhead. But this addiction and this attachment with tea, like how he's attached, how will he go back to Godhead? So Shamu next day meets Ramu and says, yesterday Krishna came in my dream. And Ramu said, wow, Krishna came in your dream? He said, yes, Krishna came in my dream. And he was glorifying you like anything. And he was saying, I can't wait when Ramu will come back to me. And I'll embrace Ramu and I will feed Ramu nicely and I'll do whatever I can do. I'm just concerned only about one thing. And Shamu asked Krishna, what are you concerned about? Then Krishna said, well, Ramu is very fond of tea. And here in Vrindavan, we don't have tea. I don't know how will I make my devotee happy. So Shamu's this story changed the heart of Rama. So even devotees also, they trick each other to increase their love for Krishna, to help them to become better devotees. So this tricking business is in parampara, if it is for the right purposes. So I was just thinking about this tricking thing. And going to the next shlokas, as we have less time, the other 3 shlokas, they basically talk about how the worship of the Govardhan hill should take place. So in verse 25, he talks about that sacrifice should be done for the pleasure of the cows, Brahman, and Govardhan hill. So just a side note, I remember reading somewhere that every year when Rath Yatra festival was about to start, the Rath carts would be only pulled once Chaitanya Mahaprabhu would come in front of Lord Jagannath and say this shloka, Namo Brahman Devaya Go Brahman Hitaya Cha Jagad Ditaya Krishnaya Govindaya. So he would chant this very beautiful prayer. And then the Rath Yatra cart would start. So the same thing. that Krishna is so much invested in seeing that the cows are pleased, the Brahmanas are pleased, and Govardhan Hill as well. We sing this song, Jai Radha Madhav, but we see Jai Radha Madhava Girivardhari. So how important is Govardhan Hill for devotees? Then next shloka is 26, that all sorts of food be cooked. So it is like an instruction for us. When Govardhan Puja comes, what we should make for our dear Govardhan. And verse 27 is about charity. And I was thinking, how charitable can Krishna be? So Rupa Goswami writes in Nectar of Devotion about the qualities of Krishna and how magnanimous Krishna is. And somewhere it's written that Krishna in charity, inherent in Dwarka of this plane, earth, surpasses even the charity of Golok Vrindavan. Because every day, Krishna in Dwarka, who is Dwarkadhish, will donate 13,054 cows. Now you will say, well, that's not a big number. Well, I just would like to remind you that in Dwarka, there are 16,108 wives of Krishna. And there are 16,108 palaces for those wives of Krishna. And Krishna also expands, known as Vaibhav Prakash Leela, into 16,108 Krishnas. So all these 16,108 Krishnas individually will donate 13,054 cows. This is a very specific number mentioned by Rupa Goswami. And I was just calculating, that is like 210 million cows every day. I think in 2 days, if Krishna was doing this charity in North America or in the US, I think in 2 days, the cows would be more than human beings in number. And I think within a month or so, it'll be like surpassing or at least considerably at par with the population of humans on this planet. But Krishna is doing that kind of charity. Why? Because Krishna is Supreme Personality of Godhead. And this is very important. Sometimes we read things which may not make sense to us. And people who don't have faith, so there are various types of people. There are people who are living an animal lifestyle. They are only concerned about eating, meeting, sleeping, and depending. Then there are people who have the animal lifestyle, but they have some inclination towards religion, or I would say dharma. Dharma means service, serving, Sanatan Dharma. That's our eternal function, to serve. So, but they lack faith on God, but they have that service power. Then the next level would be, they have faith on God, they lack faith on the scriptures or something. Means there is always some kind of faith bearing. And the fourth quality, the worst one is, which Krishna says, people who always doubt. And if you guys remember, in the very beginning of the Bhagavad Gita, Srila Prabhupada writes, what is the primary qualification to understand the mystery of Bhagavad Gita? And Srila Prabhupada writes that to understand Bhagavad Gita, the primary qualification is to at least theoretically accept Krishna as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. At least theoretically accept. And this is very, very important. So we can understand Srimad Bhagavatam, we can understand Bhagavad Gita if we accept Krishna, at least theoretically, that he is the Supreme Lord. And on that, a small, simple pastime which I will share, which I think many of you might be aware. And so Satswarup Maharaj shares this, that in 1972, when there was a GBC meeting in Mayapur, devotees, they were preparing what to show Prabhupada and how the movement is growing, how many books have been distributed, how many devotees have been made, what is the level of prasadam distribution happening everywhere, everything. When they were making a report, when Prabhupada comes here in the meeting and Prabhupada asks them, do you have faith that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead? And everyone is silent. And then again Prabhupada says, do you have complete faith that Krishna is Supreme Personality of Godhead? Now devotees are thinking what to say. Like if we say we have faith, are we too proud to Srila Prabhupada? Or am I being too proud in front of all the Vaishnavas? I'm saying I have complete faith. Or he's really asking us and we have little doubts, like we are not pure devotees, right? Because what differentiates a devotee from a pure devotee is a level of faith. And then Prabhupada again asks, do you have complete faith that Krishna is Supreme Personality of Godhead. No one said anything. And then Srila Prabhupada said that if you have faith, he said, I have complete faith that Krishna is Supreme Personality of Godhead. And if you have faith that Krishna is Supreme Personality of Godhead, this whole world can become Krishna conscious in just 18 days. That's the power of faith. So with this charity aspect, where I was sharing how magnanimous is Krishna, how generous is Krishna. Actually, the Indra pastime is Krishna's generosity. He is enjoying life in Vrindavan with his gopas, with his leelas. He's taking his special time out to show this mercy on Indra. As we say, time is the most precious thing. And in that, Indra has a place. Brahma has a place. And both of them, they forgot that Krishna is Supreme Personality of Godhead because they were bewildered that this person is eating food from the hands and the mouth of food which is not pure from the gopas and the gopis of Vrindavan. He's playing all day. He's having these sweet pastimes. How can he be God, the God most high, most powerful being? And they lacked faith. And Krishna took the time out of generosity, out of his love to show them. So with this point, I would like to conclude my monologue. Thank you so much for tolerating me for this time, and I open up for questions and answers. I hope Anand Bihari Prabhu would forgive me for taking 4 extra minutes.
Karuna Nimai Prabhu, wonderful class. I was asking myself, Ananda, do you have full faith that Krishna is real, that Karuna Nimai is a surrendered soul, and what he's vibrating is the truth? And I was like, yes, Krishna is God. He's real. He's there. So many times Krishna has proven that to me in my life. And he is a trickster. He is a trickster. I have a story from Indra Prabhu, from that book, The Kirtan Revolution. Indra Prabhu was, there was one devotee who came to Vrindavan and fell sick or lost his voice or something, and he couldn't participate in kirtans. And he had been waiting to visit Vrindavan for like a year. And here he comes, gets sick, can't do any service. And then he comes to Indra Prabhu and says, Indra Prabhu, why is Krishna doing that to me? Is it that Krishna doesn't want me to chant and do service? And Indra Prabhu said, Krishna is a trickster. Do you think he hasn't tricked me? He has tricked me so many times. And the first thing I'm going to do when I make it back home, back to Godhead, I'm going to pinch Krishna in the butt real hard. And I'll say, there you go. You know how it feels now. It's a little story from Indra Prabhu. And I have a question. Do you know, can you guess what Adi Purusha Prabhu will do when he makes it back home, back to Godhead? He shared once with me. What is it?
No, I am not aware.
Take a guess. What
cover the third shift?
We need more guesses. What will a devotee
He'll feed
like
Krishna
Adi Purusha?
some prasad?
Feed Krishna prasadam. That's a good guess. That's a good guess.
I say Krishna is so wonderful.
Yeah, tell Krishna
Finally,
he's wonderful. Adi Prabhu will come up to Krishna and tell him, Krishna, you're so wonderful. Okay. Any guesses? Any further guesses, please? What will you do? What will you do, Karuna Nimai, when you make it there?
That is
first thing.
Too often. It's a very esoteric question for me, Prabhu. Let me just be a good devotee. Let me try to be sincere here. That's what I aspire for. That's too high for me to understand and think. What will I do?
Okay. Karuna Nimai Prabhu is speaking in humility. Okay, let me ask Adi to unmute. Everybody is dying to find out.
First thing, find Srila Prabhupada, and then take a nap.
Nice, finding Srila Prabhupada, yes. That would be cool. Okay, all right, time for questions, dear devotees. Time to unmute yourself. Jimanajaya, giving us a heart is not enough. We need your smile. Even if you're working. There she is.
I was just laughing over Adi taking a nap. That's what the heart was
But thank you, Karuna Nimai, for this wonderful class. And I always love that aspect of Krishna as a trickster. He really is. And I was reflecting the thing that he does in the Mahabharata to turn, to flip the seasons and, and the stealing of the clues of the gopis. And as someone that deals with children a lot, and in my profession as a clown, I think a lot about him as the trickster. So I really appreciate you highlighting that section today. So Hare Krishna, thank you.
Okay, that was a nice intervention by Jamila Jaya. Okay. Dear devotees, what's wrong with you? Who are you hiding from? Why are those blank screens?
Did my
Come on.
discussion trick everyone and then there are no questions now?
No. We're going to shake them up. We're going to start calling them out. Okay, I'm calling out Adi. What do you have to say, Adi Purusha?
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Wonderful story, wonderful class, perfectly presented by Prabhu. And the principle there is that in different circumstances, Krishna, who's the one who directs the quality of the sacrifice and what specifically is asking, in different situations, you may ask different things. Just like the devotees were doing Harinam quite a bit here in the West. And then when they went to India, Prabhupada said, no Harinam. I want you to do standing orders, whole sets of Bhagavatams, So the Guru, and of course Krishna, might ask us under different circumstances to please him by completely different activities at different times. And Prabhupada said, purity is the essence. Books are the basis. Utility is the principle. Purity is the force. That books are the basis. Preaching is the essence. That, utility is the principle, means whatever works, do that. And we have to understand that Prabhupada doesn't want us just to be Krishna conscious. He told us that. Prabhupada, we see you want us to be Krishna conscious. No. You don't want us to be Krishna? No. I want you to give Krishna consciousness. I want you to give. So whatever it takes to engage people, to include people, to attract people, to inspire people in devotional service, that is utility is the principle. Whatever works, do it like that. And it's very practical and it might differ. Here Krishna's really shaking things up, telling them not to do what they were doing before. And the pride of Indra, like Prabhu was explaining, is not that we shouldn't be respectful to that person. We do offer respects to the demigods, even to an ant, but in the mood that this person is a servant of Krishna. And that's appropriate. But just thinking that they are an end in of themselves, or that they are the pleasing that intermediary is the only criteria for success. That's a mistake. Anyway, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. He's inspiring us and empowering us and instructing us perfectly. Hare Krishna.
Nice. There was one devotee was complaining to Srila Prabhupada about something, how difficult their service was, how many obstacles they had to overcome to get the service done. Or maybe they were struggling with something, with a principle. And Srila Prabhupada looked at them and said, I just want you to be happy.
Right. I was there. Prabhupada said that. The devotee was crying. Prabhupada, what do you want from me? Prabhupada said, I just want you to be happy. But only by unceasing, unmotivated devotional service can we be satisfied. Yeah. That's our understanding of because that's our nature. We are loving beings. We are servants of Krishna. When we're serving Krishna, we'll be satisfied. And there's no bar. Anyone can please Krishna just by doing their humble best. And anyone who thinks that they're doing better than someone else, even the gopis, as soon as they thought, we are so high, we are so close to Krishna, that Krishna left them at that moment. So everyone, if we're in proper consciousness, We're thinking everyone is serving Krishna better than me. And to be satisfied with whatever Krishna gives us to do is the real path.
Thank you. Thank you, Adi Purusha Prabhu. So take it very seriously, dear devotees. This request from Srila Prabhupada to be happy. Give Krishna consciousness to others. Feed the priest nicely. But also be happy. Make sure you're happy. Like, look at Andrea. She's glowing. She's taking this duty very seriously. Yeah.
Because we're not thinking of our own
Okay.
happiness. Matra Sparsha to count the happy instant distress will come and go like winter and summer season. Well, we are satisfied because we have some service to Krishna, and if Krishna please, then we're quote unquote happy. It's indirect.
Yeah.
Happiness is a byproduct. It's not that we seek happiness.
Right.
We were listening to Martin Luther King, and he said, "The goal in my life is not to avoid pain and achieve pleasure, but to do God's will, come what may." Wow.
Yeah, and it's fun and exciting to live like that. It's not that we're like struggling and overcoming all the time. It's like a game, but Shishika Prabhu says. It's like a game. Can I see Krishna in this? What is Krishna trying to tell me in this situation? Can I close this little gap here? It's fun. Krishna consciousness is joyfully performed. It's fun. And Krishna is a prankster. Let's not forget that. He's not a boring individual. Krishna is a prankster. So, all right. Please, dear devotees, let me call out somebody. You know, Venetia always has something nice to say. Maybe Whiskey Das has something nice to say or chant. Where is she? There she is.
Bhima.
Here,
Oh, there you go.
maybe Bhima.
Go on.
I don't have anything enlightening to say. I just am very grateful for the class. I am tickled by the concept of Krishna being a prankster. I have felt little light touches of it. It's kind of when, you know, not to be presumptuous or posing as more advanced than I am, but it's the times I feel like when I feel Krishna's presence the most is when, you know, like I told him last weekend after our talk here that I belong to him. And then somebody immediately from my past who I hadn't spoken to in ages and ages and ages called me out of the blue. And I was like, oh, I belong to you, you know? And it's like, Krishna, wait, what are you doing? No, I didn't mean that. You know, but
Nice.
like so long I hadn't heard from this person. And I was like, oh, Krishna, man, I fell for that. You know, so, but then as painful and as embarrassing as it is like the realization that, oh my goodness, you're there, you know. It's such a blessing. Anyway, this class is such a blessing. It's my friend.
Thank you, Venetia. Yeah, Whiskey Prabhu, Hare Krishna. Wonderful. Where's Bhima Prabhu? Are you shoveling poop for Krishna, Bhima Prabhu?
No, I'm trying to hold up Govardhan Hill by myself over my head, and it keeps crushing me. Oh, day after day, I keep getting crushed. I refuse to let him take over, balancing on his left pinky. I figured I could build something to protect myself. At all times, we're reminded. I'm reminded every day that you know, we're all little Indras. We're all little Indras. Look at that! I can't even speak. Krishna's
Crushing your voice.
Yeah, he's saying, "Shut the
Choking
hell
you.
up! You're nowhere near Indra." That's what he's saying. He's like, "What the hell? What are you talking about, Indra?" Anyways, yeah. When we seek to have control, even over the littlest things, because ultimately, you know, we're told we have to remember Krishna constantly. And we just remember that, it looks like we have the conch shell blowing. So there we go.
Darshan.
Hare Krishna. Here's the one who's in
Cameras
control.
on if you can. Cameras on if you can, please. If you can. Yeah, Bruce Prabhu is driving and taking darshan. That's advancement. Hare Krishna. Jimalaja, you're in the temple room. Hare Krishna. So nice. Okay. So I remember during the Brahmachari Ashram days, Bhaktivedanta Ashram at the Bhakti Center, Dayal Gauranga Prabhu was cooking apple crumble, and everybody was excited for that apple crumble. And Jai Baladev Prabhu, another Brahmacharya, came up to Dayal Gauranga Prabhu and told him, Dayal Prabhu, you are an apple crumble king. You're the king of apple crumble. And Dayal looks back at him and says, yes, I'm a crumble king. So we all have our little Indra project going, but we're being crumbled by Krishna, who is the trickster. But he's only crumbling us because he loves us. He wants us to come back to our senses, come back to the realm of kirtan, devotional service, prasadam, chanting. So, yeah, just wanted to share that little story. We're all crumbled kings and queens. Hare Krishna. With this, I'm wrapping it up. Thank you very much. We love you dearly. Venetia, thank you. Thank you very much. Very inspiring Krishna miracle story. Amita Kishori Didi. William G. Poppy C, Yogeshwari Suzanne, Angel Prabhu, Domi, Rupesh Kumar, the fifth, the Royal Prince, Angel, Bhima Prabhu, Hare Krishna. Come again tomorrow.
Long live the king.
Long live